that's why I was confused, and I was rolling with you. You know, I was just with you on that. You tore off the first one, and that was the one. I was there with you though, bro. I was going down that. We were looking at we were on the river. We had no oar, and we're in our canoe, and there's a waterfall ahead of us. And I was sticking in it with you, man.
That's what we call it. So we say it all the time here, folks. When your team makes a call, if 3 people do the wrong call and 2 people do the right call, there never really was a right call at all. But if one person makes the wrong call and the whole team commits, well then, everybody looks stupid. Trifecta versus Noble here. Different matchup. Aurora and his squad have struggled a little bit. Noble have certainly had their struggles as well. When you look at the rosters and you look at the top cards and the bottom cards, I think Trifecta winds up default in that position that you say, sure, this team maybe should be the winner. But looking off of their both respective actual performances, I think this is an even match.
Look, Trifecta came into this split in my estimation as the best NA team off of their their performance, I should say, at DreamHack Valencia. They haven't looked quite as good so far during the online split, but this is the type of set where you look at a team like Trifecta to right the ship and look like one of those really, really strong teams again. And I expect they will do that against a Noble roster who did look really good last week and looked the best they had looked in a long time last week. But again, this is a really tough matchup for them.
I still think this is possible. You empower Skeleton, you empower Wowie. That's what you're looking for. Who are the first 2 picks on Noble? Wowie and Skeleton. So I like this. I like the selections. We've seen Jingwei on Wowie. Wowie looks like one of the better hunters on the planet when he's able to really get his gods going. So I like that Noble looking there. But Trifecta, I mean,
love it.
Sinoshire's god is Naja. You got the Geb, you got the Arlong Shen. These are characters that Trifecta's happy about.
And the Geb in particular, because Aurora's phenomenal on it, and it's Wubbin's most comfortable support. So you're taking that away from Wubbin and giving it to Aurora, who's very, very strong on it. A little surprised to see Noble go for Cucullin in this situation instead of going for the Thoth that they end up banning away, because Moswell's looked phenomenal on Thoth, and that would have been a fairly safe pick in this scenario, but deciding they want to focus out the right side of the map a little bit heavier, trying to get some pressure to combat that Erlong Shen Naja combo.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, and so they take care of both mid laners, Thoth and Scylla. Whereas Trifecta, on the other hand, also look towards the mid lane, banning out Raijin and the Thoth and the Soul. Excuse me, the Soul's interesting. I like the Raijin ban. Why do you think the Soul is banned out, leaving Noble with Ra?
It's safe. It's very safe for Noble's mid laner Moswell, and he's looked pretty good on that one as well. Moswell hasn't been back in the SPL for a lot of time. It's been only a couple weeks, and so he hasn't been able to showcase a lot of different gods. And so basically in this sort of scenario, you're like, okay, what have we seen Moswell play? Thoth, Raijin, Soul, we'll ban those away and just see what else he has, because he hasn't had a chance to prove anything else quite yet.
Sure. I think, I know Mozzie. He's got that Ra.
He does.
That's
absolutely
scary. And the players on Trifecta know that he has that Ra. So, I don't know. Interesting thought process, but we'll see if the Ra will wind up having the impact that Noble wanted to. Next to the Sylvanas, this is a trap character for me. I think that there's a lot of potential when it comes to the Sylvanas, but I also think that Wubbin might be able to get caught out on it.
It's true. It makes me a little bit nervous as well. But the good news for Noble is that there isn't a lot of early game damage on the side of Trifecta's 3v3 core. I mean, Geb's not going to be doing a lot to Sylvanas in the early game. Even Giannis for Heroin, it's going to do decent burst, but not necessarily enough to outright kill Wubbin.
Sure.
Sinosure, if he hits a crit, that could work out, but also has to be worried about that Sylvanas passive rooting him away from hitting those melee auto attacks. So this is a scenario where this Sylvanas could end up working out. However, there's a lot between Moswell and Wubbin. Those are 2 characters that are incredibly immobile, and look for Heroin to drop that through space and time on either Moswell or Wubbin if they're alone in the jungle at any time, because that can get the whole team right on top of Ra or Sylvanas, and especially with Ra. The number one thing to shut him down when Ra was super meta and everyone was playing him all the time, what did teams do to him? They just you get up in his face.
Yeah.
He can't do a lot to you there.
And one of the nice things that I also love about I will always generally love a Giannis pick. I think that there is the rare composition that he doesn't really fit into well, but Sinoshore's Naja, and I specify Sinoshore's Naja, and Snoopy on the Amusing Cobb, both characters can go deeper than they perhaps should be allowed to, and then saved via a portal.
That's true, and I guess we're watching Assault here. Snoopy takes a lot of damage in that mid lane.
He's gone. He is gone. It's Wowie with number 1. Oh, I got surprised. Oh, boy. Ow.
No beads. Didn't respect the damage coming off that root from Wubbin. the 3v3 in mid, that's why I think I'd rather see Snoopy just head on over the left side and use that extra clear. I like Wowie's response to the rest of Noble. If they're going to 3v3 in mid, we'll be right there with you.
I did not even expect that. I mean, like, I'm sorry I cut you off. That was just a raw reaction from me. I just like, wow.
Interesting choice by Snoopy to not use the purification beads. That being said, I love this Amuz and Cop pick for him here. A little bit scary into the Jingwei, but only a little bit, just because of how mobile that Jingwei can be, but Amuz and Cop shuts down a lot of that mobility. And Snoopy on this AMC, I mean, Snoopy was playing AMC before anyone else was. He pulled it out at land.
Exactly what I was going to say. We've seen the AMC before. It was really a safety pick. Nice hit by Harwind. Man, Harwind gets overlooked a lot, but I have loved watching Harwind grow as a player. I think he's one of the stronger mids these days, and it's impressive to watch.
Blue buff got stolen by Noble as Aurora's going to blink in and go for the slow with the rollout. Walrus gets the jump away, and pin off the mark for Kiki means everyone gets out all right from Noble with a successful invade. Good lead for them on the right-hand side of the map, which is exactly what you want to give to Cucullin, especially to Nemesis.
And so Harwin's going to be able to pick up a little bit of this farm as well after that rotation. And these seem to be team-based rotations. Everybody's moving as a giant unit, but it's Walrus that's doing it all by himself. Taking down Shore, stuck in the jungle. My mistake. Skeleton helps him out in the 2v1, catching the Naja sleeping.
And they get Sinoshore's beads as well. That's before any ultimates are used by Noble, and there's a decent amount of CC here for Noble with their composition. Wubbin doesn't have Blink. He went for Sprint instead, so Sino won't have to worry about any sort of Blink engage from the Sylvanas as Walrus and Skeleton pick up another kill on the right-hand side with a double ultimate combination underneath that tower. Noble off to a great start here. 3-0, 3 minutes in.
What are you supposed to, I mean, why do you die there? Why is Kiki dead there?
He's level 4, and he's got 2 people who are level 5, and you don't need to put in a lot of damage whenever you've got a Nemesis ultimate into a Cucullin ult. And no purification beads, of course, for the solo lane Erlong Shen. That's just, you know, Kiki looked like he was pretty far underneath his tower. It's just, what do you do against Nemesis ult into Cucullin ult? That's just a lot of damage that Erlong Shen doesn't have a lot of recourse for.
Yeah, I suppose. Doesn't have that heal online, so Kiki and Sino going to have to heal up this, take care of this wave together. Still not level 5. Noble 3 kills up, 1,500 gold in their pocket above the opposition. And I mean, you know, maybe last week wasn't a fluke. Because this is not, you know, you might look at one kill as, all right, maybe Snoopy should have done this. You might look at another kill as, well, maybe Sino shouldn't be there. 3 kills in a row, man. I mean, something good is happening for Noble.
Clearly, Walrus and Skeleton have gotten a little bit better with their communication and seem to be on a closer page between the two. And that is a really scary 2 players to let get on a roll, because Skeleton and Walrus have both demonstrated in their past that if you let them get ahead, they're excellent at controlling the game and really pushing those leads efficiently.
Wally had this moment as well when he was playing on some other teams where he got a moment in the spotlight and he looked like he was making that change that we see players make. We've seen Variety make these changes. We've seen, I mean, Harwin's one of these people. It looked like he was making that change from a lower end player, or mid-tier player, I should say, into a high-end player. And then he got tossed off the roster and completely stunted his growth. And we haven't seen that Walrus yet since. I mean, could this be the resurgence of Walrus getting back to his stride?
It could be, and that'd be huge for Noble, because just having that pressure for Skeleton is such a talented player, and a lot of times just has these games where he never seems to get the ball rolling, and whenever he gets that opportunity, he can do a lot with it. And this is a great opportunity for Walrus to kind of, this is a day of solo lane revenge, potentially, between FineOK up against Space Station and Walrus up against TFECT. And there was no, you know, double lane swap sort of thing like Space Station had. Kiki just took Walrus's spot. TFECT just booted Walrus to give it to Kiki, and you know that Mark Maloney wants to prove that TFECT made a mistake.
I'm going to dip behind the lines here. You know, I know Skeely and I know Walrus pretty well. Walrus and I speak a lot. And one of the things that I think tie these 2 players together is their commitment to improvement. Both of these guys, and sure, theoretically, every player does this, but both of these guys are really, when they mess up, they watch that VOD, they beat themselves up, and they really try to improve. It's one of the more impressive traits in SPL players for me. And I think that Walrus and Skeleton working together, like you said, can be really scary.
Wubbin in some trouble. Blink ultimate from Aurora was immune. Nice nicely by his own Wrath of Terra. Cynosure waiting for that ultimate off the portal. He's going to clean up one, but right around the back is Skilly.
But the ultimate from Oswald is going to be off the mark, and Aurora with a beautiful shield saves the life of his jungler. Nice communication coming out from TFECT. They put everything together to take down one player. Wubbin goes down for the count. They're not going to get anything off of it, but sometimes you just need that spark to start the game, and that might be it.
Plus, they did get Oracles. Cost them Snoopy's ultimate. The Stinger actually securing the last Oracle Harpy there, but a little bit of something at least for TFECT. That's the worry with Noble's composition. When Wubbin falls, the setup for Moswall is pretty much non-existent. Both knockups from Walrus and Wowie aren't the easiest to confirm raw ult off of, so you have to really rely on Moswall to be accurate with those ultimates without a lot of setup. And that's, in that case, Cynosure expends the beads, a big reason why Moswall misses that ultimate, but it's still not an easy shot.
Yeah, nice plays coming out from TFECT. That was, that right there, I think I said it yesterday where we saw Naja support. We got to see like the proof of concept of the draft. That right there is what you want to do. You want to set up the Naja and then set up whoever's down below. So Herwin sets up the Naja ultimate. Down he comes, and well, he's already dead before he hits the ground. But theoretically, Snoopy would be there with the beads or the Stinger to just put the final dot on the target. Either way, TFECT to start things off. We'll see if it's the catalyst they need to get things going against Team Noble.
Snoopy actually pretty close in terms of XP per minute with Wowie, which is a little bit unexpected considering he fell for First Blood, and Wowie's playing Jingwei, who gets to farm better than just about any other character. Backing to base, going to those back camps as Moswell uses his ult, trying to secure red buff, tagged a couple members of TFECT, but the red buff didn't end up falling, so TFECT get the successful invade.
All they do is press W as well. They're just walking towards him. Noble gave that one up a little bit for free. The idea is that if they stick around, they probably die. But Noble, I think, might have been able to take that fight if they get the rotation from the Hunter. But a nice job by TFECT's dual lane, keeping the Hunter out of the conversation.
And if Wowie gets to come, that means Snoopy gets to come as well. And so that's a 4v3 at best in Noble's favor. Wise decision to back it off.
I think you can handle Snoopy in the early game. That's the thing when it comes to him using Cobb, is that sure, he has that burst damage in the 1v1, but his team fight is relatively lackluster until he's got a couple of levels online and able just to drop down the hive and start tunneling basics into you. When you've got other hunters like Wowie, the knockup's more important. There are other options that he has outside of pure basic attack damage, whereas Snoopy, that's all he's got. So at this 8-minute team fight, not exactly the numero uno guy.
Speed buff invade goes successfully for Noble. That's both buffs on the right-hand side again, and now they're looking for the tower as well. Kiki doesn't have much to do about it. He's going to let it go. He's down 2 levels, basically a full 2 levels to Walrus right now.
That one was tough. I mean, this isn't just, Kiki losing lane to Walrus. There has been a concentrated effort from Noble to put pressure on the right side of the map, and for good reason. I think Wowie's going to do it by himself. But right now, Aurora's in trouble. Nice ultimate, but Skillnod's walking the other way because they anticipate the reaction from TFECT.
Really nice ultimate from Moswell hits too, but just not quite enough damage yet. He's got the Book of Thoth done, but no penetration boots, no cooldown boots either. Nice play from both sides, honestly. Herwin does a great job of hitting people with that through space and time and providing utility portals to his team. Aurora looking to be aggressive, and the rest of TFECT following up very quickly off of that call, because the initial call for TFECT seemed to be to disengage in that scenario, and Aurora finds himself with 2 members right on top of him and says, hey guys, I've got a pretty good Cataclysm here, can you help me out? And TFECT does a nice job of responding to that quickly.
Yeah, so TFECT is still trailing, actually by a decent amount, honestly. It started at 1,500 and it's just sort of kept growing. You can see every now and then TFECT sort of bite back, but really 2,100 at this stage of the game, not a good look. Part of that is the 500 gold for the Tier 1 tower, so you got to keep that in mind, but even still, something to be concerned about if you're a TFECT fan.
And that's just the constant invades on the right-hand side that has really bolstered this lead for Noble. The Tier 1 tower falling pretty important as well, and that opens the door for even more invades on the right-hand side, because now Kiki and Sino, Herwin, whoever's over there, is going to have a farther walk to be safe. They don't have the option of going up above the blue buff underneath the Tier 1 because it's gone. So this is a good look for Noble. Sometimes you don't want to take down early towers because you can use it as a gold denier in lane. You can push the wave under tower, keep that soul laner trapped because they feel like they don't want to lose their tower, and it's taking away gold for every minion that it hits. But in this situation where Noble's wanting to play aggressive on the right-hand side, I think it's really good.
Nice pull out of Wubbin is going to isolate Aurora, the knock up the ultimate as well, and Mozzie. Number 4 for Noble. There's going to be Skildon, take it to the sky, put on the ground, but it could be Silent Shore putting an early grave. Instead, he's able to walk away. Comes right up to the portal. That could have been miserable. Luck of the draw gets him out of that conversation, but it's Wally Walrus taking down Snoopy.
Wow, that was almost really unfortunate for Sino. Great engage there, all set up by Wubbin.
Oh my goodness, I love I had that. My reaction was more embarrassing. I kind of like went high pitched like a girl when they got that first pick. But your reaction, you were just like, he did it. We all do that in our games, but you don't want to do that here.
That's unfortunate. Laying down a portal on top of another portal from your ultimate, and you end up just getting the zigzag right back to where you came from. But Noble off to a great start in this one. 5-1 at Gold Fury now. And that gold lead, look, 2,109 minutes, significant, but not game. It's not one of those leads where you say, if Noble lose this game, it's on them. They threw
talk
it away.
About it.
There's a lot of things that can go into losing a 2,000 gold lead that don't stem from messing up that lead. Now that you're at 4,000 gold at 12 minutes, that's getting closer to the realm of Noble should, as long as they take care of business, tie this one up. But not quite there yet still. There's so many different factors in the mid to late game. One of them being that Trifecta's mid to late game comp is really, really, really strong in terms of moving Snoopy around, giving mobility to Cynosure as well, and staying safe with that Giannis, and Aurora becoming more and more impactful as the game goes on, whereas Wubbin is going to lose some effectiveness with that heal becoming less impactful, with the damage that his autos throw out being a lot less impactful as well. So Noble isn't in the should definitely win this game with this lead category yet, but we're getting close.
This is where they have to be with this composition. As you said, it's not going to go in the late game, so they need to finish one sooner. But this is the first. Last week, they wound up losing the games. But last week was the best performance we've seen out of Noble. And now they're going to start the Portal Demon here. They've got it down to about 75% HP, 50 now. Aurora going to be zoned out by Wubbin, and nobody really saying anything. There's a Soul Laner around. He's going to try and loop, but Kiki shows up too late, and it's all Nobles. And that performance is spilling over into this week as well. There are, you know what's interesting, Ryan? There's a lot of Noble fans, a lot of long-time Noble fans, and I see them. I see them in Twitch chat. I see them in comment sections and on Reddit. And this is why they're fans. This is the potential that they've been waiting for. This is a solid squad.
Yeah,
watching this game,
undoubtedly. I mean, they're taking it to a top 3 team in North America in my mind right now, and maybe Trifecta. The argument is Trifecta just not as good as we think they are, or is Noble way better than we think they are? And
maybe both.
It's probably somewhere in the middle between the two, but certainly Noble deserves a lot of credit for the way they played these last 2.5 games, basically.
This is one of those, I see the roster. I like the roster for the most part. I've been very impressed with Moswell, to be honest with you. Wowie's always been that guy. And Skildon and Walrus, I've sang about them for a long time. And, it's always been but they can't get together, what's happening. And then finally, like we said, last week, and then here we are today. This is the Noble that I think a lot of people kind of anticipated. And this is the Noble that's fun to watch, man. I want more of this squad.
They are fun to watch. Skildon's always been a dynamic player. Walrus has as well. That right side of the map is fun. Wowie has potential to 1v5 you at his own Titan if you give him the opportunity. So definitely exciting stuff for Noble, and couldn't have come at a better time because this is we're getting close to the end of the fall split here, the twilight moments, and trying to secure their spot in that really, really important top 6.
Got to be able to go ahead and funnel your way into the super regionals, and then of course Worlds, and then season 5, a whole new story. So. Got to impress right now if you've got any plans on sticking around.
Kiki, now hitting level 14, is going to be a key player in this game for Trifecta. How well can he frontline with this bad start that he's gotten off to? Walrus is going to be able to frontline beautifully because he's level 15. He's 3-0. He's already got a Hide of the Urchin done. He's working towards what could be a Breastplate of Valor, a Hide of the Nemean Lion, has a couple options in that regard. So Walrus is going to be able to do his job pretty effectively, but can Kiki match that with how not tanky he is in comparison is going to be a big focal point for Noble. If Wowie can just chunk through Kiki and make him so he's not really that frontline presence, it's going to be a lot easier for Noble.
Meanwhile, you see some early heal reduction coming out from the guys on Trifecta. Silent Shore's second item going to be that heal reduction Brawler Speed Stick. Already looking at not just the Ra in the middle lane, but also Wubbin on the Sylvanas. Significant amount of healing coming out from him as well. And the Lotus Crown, the first item for the support. So additional protections coming out from Wubbin as well.
Kiki gets dashed on by Skilladon, and just a little bit of poke damage. No full commit quite yet because Gold Fury's up in about 20 seconds. Noble don't want to overcommit on that right-hand side. Take a look at Herwin's build. He's gone for full CDR and then some. He's got 40% just from the items.
Chronos.
And then you factor in the Chronos Pendant passive. It's basically 50% CDR for the Giannis. So Herwin's not going to be doing big damage yet with those unstable vortexes, but he's going to be throwing out a lot of them. And this comes from the most recent adjustment to Chronos Pendant, making it a little bit cheaper, just kind of opening the door to it being a second purchase
item. It still
item.
has, what, 80 power?
Yes, 80 power.
That's still a decent amount of power on an item.
It's not great. It's not bad.
Well,
You usually want at least 90 to 100.
Right. So with the usual builds, we'll hold our thought there. There's going to be the Gold Fury 10, 50%. Nice knock-up coming out from Wally. Moswall confirms it, but it gets leashed, and the Gold Fury's not even going to be finished. Noble peeling off for the team fight. I think they thought that they had enough damage to take out the objective, Ryan, but they don't. Instead, it's a support that gets taken out. Cynoshore on the good side.
Walrus finds the Aegis on Cynoshore, but now he's all alone. There's the Unstable Vortex and the portal right on time from Herwin. Snoopy gonna shove that stinger.
Great, just great play coming out from Herwin, man. So impressive. The portal on top of the threshold. You don't have the damage to confirm, but you have all of the control in the world to confirm. Eesh, and this kill for Trifecta.
And I loved Herwin's positioning there. He's in, while Noble's doing that Gold Fury, he's inside that mid-harpy pit, just waiting, and causes a ton of chaos with that through space and time. He came through, hit a couple people with that, came through the portal with an unstable vortex, they clapped a couple other people, and then he's gone, and everyone from Noble's like, okay, I'm 2/3 HP and don't really know what happened quite yet. And all of a sudden, it's Trifecta pushing forward, and this is what good teams do. They take bad situations at the beginning of the game, they turn it around, and they let the other team make a mistake.
Yeah.
And honestly, Noble got off to a perfect start in that team fight. Walrus with a 3-man knockup and got a set of purification beads as well out of Snoopy. That's the perfect engage out of Walrus. Love that play from him. Just that Moswell was a little bit late on that ultimate. And as I mentioned, that is a really hard ultimate ability to follow up off of with SMITE.
So I'm on the other side of it. Moswell looking for the objective as the Portal Demon goes in Noble's favor. For me, what it looked like, and we're not in the comms obviously, what it looked like was Mozzie fires the ult to finish off the Gold Fury, and then since it's off, everybody's like, oh well, that was the last shot. Gold Fury's got to be dead. They peel and it's not killed. You're shaking your head no. You think it was about the team fight?
It looked to me like Moswell was looking for Snoopy off of the knockup from Walrus to try and take him out of the fight early on, and with the quick purification beads from Snoopy, it was enough to get him out of it. But if Moswell is at the exact same time as the blink knockup, then you hit him anyways. But that is a really difficult thing to ask off of that particular blink CC. Either way, Noble just didn't really recover well from Trifecta's counter engagement. And a lot of that, in my mind, is due to Herwin's positioning and the way that he caused a lot of chaos in that team fight.
Do you think Noble should have peeled from the Gold Fury?
I think they should have stuck to one call.
Sure. Right now the call is middle lane. Herwin again shows up through the portal. This time Snoopy in tow. The root from Wubbin off the mark. A couple of players of Trifecta defending the tier 1 tower in the middle lane. Walrus shoved down a little low, and everybody's going to hide in the pool that is the healing of Mozzie.
And Cynoshore can shut a little bit of that down with a long-range ring toss, which would apply that Brawler's Beat Stick passive across the entirety of Noble. But I love this decision from Noble to stick around and use that sustain. Problem is, Cynoshore's back now. He was poked out and is back in this game. So now it's kind of just a wash. Just a matter of the fact that Trifecta's used more ultimates than Noble has.
Nice reaction. Wubbin going for the pull. Leaves him open to get portaled. There's going to be the crowd control. Noble pushed out from underneath the tower. Big damage coming out for the boys on Trifecta. Walrus taking the frontline position away from Wubbin. And he's going to get poked down as well.
Also, haven't mentioned this, but Herwin didn't start off the game with Purification Beads. He started with Shell as his first relic, really looking to be a team player with that relic, understanding that there isn't a lot of CC on the side of Noble and really relying on portaling himself out of that Terra ultimate, or that Sylvanas ultimate if necessary.
Skildon gonna get in trouble here. Pushed out, but it's Wubbin with a 3-man ultimate, and there's the response coming out from Moswell, hitting one player with the ult, bringing Snoopy down as well. Now Wubbin and the rest of Noble going to heal up. They pushed a lot of players down as far as the HP is concerned, and that's going to open the door. Tier 1 tower giving up.
And again, a lot of that, the reason that Noble can't push forward there is because Hurwin causes chaos by getting into the back line as a mid-mage. And anytime you see a mid-mage in the back line, you're like, hey, kill this guy. Hurwin almost falls, but has to use Purification Beads, chases out that Nemesis ultimate in response. He has done a good job of really causing chaos. Problem is, it's just not enough damage quite yet. Going for an Obsidian Shard next, a good decision, getting some quick penetration online, and needs it up against how tanky Walrus and Wubbin are. But as this game goes later, if Hurwin is allowed to do what he's done so far, sticking off to the side of the team fight, coming in, creating that chaos, it's going to be very difficult for Noble to handle it.
And again, read the draft, right? You look at TFECT and they look towards Noble and they go, okay, you've got the early game. You've got the mid game. But come late game, you know, okay. So Hurwin sort of, it's one thing to select your characters for the draft, and then you build for the draft as well. And Hurwin goes, look, I'm not winning the early game against the Ra, so I don't have to try this book of thought. Like, I don't have to rush something. I can take my time. I'm going to build expensive items. Here we go, my Chronos Pendant. And sure, he's not making a huge impact now, Ryan, but I mean, you know, late game, he'll be able to make it happen.
I mean, that being said, he's top of the player damage charts so far, and there's something to be said for throwing out one Unstable Vortex that hits for 900 and throwing out two Unstable Vortexes that hit for 475 apiece.
And we felt that impact in the team fights, right? We're not, and I think it's, you know what it is? I think we're just used to seeing, all right, Giannis walks through a portal and just claps somebody down to about 20%. And that's not what we're seeing at Hurwin, but there's more than one way to skin a cat. And right now, Hurwin, well, he's skinning the cat.
No, he's not. He's playing Giannis and doing something fun and good for the environment. Not skinning a cat.
Well, I don't see anything wrong with getting rid of a couple cats.
I do. That's awful. Why would you say that?
Dogs,
look, dogs are better,
dogs rule, cats drool. I mean, it's classic.
Of course, but doesn't give you the right to attack a cat.
Gold's here going to be attacked here. 25% already on the objective. Here comes Hurwin, and there goes Hurwin. He gets it, and he takes it away. Low impact. Who you talking to? Hurwin, the highlight player of this game.
At 0-0-3 has certainly been that perfect timing from Hurwin, and looks like it's that ward coverage from the Oracles that give him the opportunity to see the health bar of that Gold Fury. Moswell used the ultimate as well, just was a little bit early, a little bit late, not sure exactly of the timing. All I know is that Hurwin's timing was perfect.
Hurwin here, you know, and I was going to say this earlier, but Hurwin here has always been the quiet carry. You know, he doesn't wind up on the highlight reels all the time. Portal Demon probably going to go to Noble for free. He doesn't wind up on the highlight reel all the time. People aren't always talking about Hurwin, but he also, ooh, the Fire Giant a little bit different.
Snoopy's all the way on the left-hand side of the map, so that's why Noble's pulling this down. About half HP. Hurwin's going to have the ultimate up soon, but Moswell's is already ready.
I like this call. I really do like this call from Noble. I don't know if they're going to be able to execute, however. Kiki on the left side. Snoopy finally reaching the point of contention here. Noble still in control. Aurora half HP.
Aurora, there's Hurwin's ultimate. It's going to clip Moswell, but it doesn't save Kiki. Walrus going to pick up his fourth kill. 2/3 of Noble's kills. They're on Mark Maloney.
Hurwin, though, I mean, Hurwin also made the transition from a lower-end player to a higher-tier player. Nobody talked about it. Hurwin has been performing for TFECT consistently. Nobody's talking about it. Fire Giant down to 25%. Nobody's talking about it. But Hurwin around the corner, looking for the unstable, but instead the leash coming out from Noble. The re-pick up one more time. Hurwin hiding from the opposition, but I think he finally gets caught. Here's the ultimate right through the portal wall. And the Fire Giant going to go down here, and this one is all Noble's. That one's not getting snatched away because Noble do the good job of taking care of the Giannis.
That was very impressive to me from Noble because they make one call and then switch it, and make another call and then switch it, and do a great job of staying together as a unit. Like you were talking about with the Gold Fury, would I rather see them stick it on it or take the fight? I don't really care. Just pick one. That time Noble picks four and does them all at the same time, basically. It's do Portal Demon. Okay, let's pull Fire. That brings Snoopy over, but we got to pick on Nikki. Let's go back on Fire. Oh, they're kind of close. Off Fire. Back on. They're not close enough. We found Heroin. Now you can do it. Really impressive shot calling from Noble in that exchange.
To me, and sure, I'm sort of splitting cat hairs here, but it's the execution of the shot call that's impressive. And I think, we see teams make the shot call and then somebody lags behind or the timing's off, and we've complained about that in this game about Noble. But watching them synchronize swim together and just like open close, like a marching band or something, is so impressive, man.
It's been a really good game from them, no doubt about it. 6-3, but plenty of action in this one so far between Noble and Trifecta. And Heroin is the guy to watch because he's still, he doesn't have that rod up to Hootie quite yet. Snoopy as well, watch out for him. He's got chin size, Titan's Bane, level 20 on the AMC.
Heroin has been the only guy making the huge game-making plays here for Trifecta. Now, sure, the characters, we'll see him later game, and Snoopy will probably get a multi-kill that'll help his team out. But, I mean, for right now, it's all one guy.
4 knock-up by Walrus.
Snoopy gone.
Just able to escape thanks to that shield from Aurora. Heroin comes in trying to assist, but just a little bit too late for that tier 2. Another beautiful engage by that Kukulkan and Walrus. 4 people with a blink knockup, and Trifecta just can't group up like that. You just can't do it.
Maswal doesn't get the kill on the Snoopy, but for me, he's 2-0-3. That is a kill because Snoopy is forced to walk back, heal up at the base like that. Sure, yeah, fine. That pushes everybody out. All the towers in the mid and the right side of the map are just gone. Noble looking like I said. I mean, we've seen Noble win a couple of team fights. We've seen Noble win a couple of objectives, but this has been all game. They make one sloppy mistake on the Gold Fury, and everything else has looked top tier.
It really has. They've been very clean so far this game, and they've done a great job of taking that early lead on the right-hand side and transitioning it as a unit, working together as a team afterwards. Now, group is 5, sieging down. There's only one tower left standing on the map, and it looks like Trifecta's just going to give it up.
Yeah, I don't know if I love this call. I might want to see, because I always say, leave the tier 2 tower and fight underneath the Phoenix, but I think Trifecta might have been able to go for that one. Why did they just relinquish the towers?
No one was in position. There were so many people pushing up waves on the mid, on the right, that by the time they could have backed and walked there, it would have been gone anyway. So they said they stick around and just continue to push those waves out. Well,
free gold tier here for the guys on Noble as well. And 28 minutes in, Noble will have 2/3 of the 9 kills on the map. And with the gold here, it's going to push them above their 7,000 gold lead that they already have amassed. Snoopy on the right side, level 20, trying to get that final build item online, which will be defensive. So his build essentially is finished as far as his offensive capabilities. No critical strike, instead focusing on the attack speed portion of him using Cobb, dishing out chin side procs as much as possible.
And it's because Walrus has been such a problem for Trifecta that Snoopy feels like he needs to take care of him first. No one else from Nobles has been really in range to get hit besides Wubbin and Walrus, which is exactly the way you want it. You don't want your carries anywhere near the enemy hunter because Maswal, Wowie, Wowie and Snoopy, of course, can trade out, and we'll see who gets luckier with the crits most of the time. But against a mage, against a hunter late game, you don't want to be anywhere near that.
Also, this is one of the more fun and devastating builds coming out from AMC. Hives give him 50% attack speed. With the lifesteal and the chins, you're looking really cute. That's a steal of the Portal Demon. I'm not really concerned about that. I'm more concerned about the ensuing team fight. Skillon being walked down walking Snoopy down, forcing the beads up in the sky is Sino showing he'll land down, and Kiki will capitalize, taking care of Wowie. Very important kill in this team fight. And now Trifecta on the offensive, looking towards Walrus.
Walrus, the only one left in the back line. Heroin with another good portal. Sinosure, Snoopy, and Hurry clean up Walrus. And Kiki's doing a great job of forcing 3 out. This is the first fight where Kiki's been able to make an impact, and he has carried it so far. He steals away the Portal Demon. He taunts 2 members off of Snoopy, and then he frontlines beautifully afterwards.
Wubbin with the late Wrath of Terra to peel out the solo. Late not being like he missed the mark. Saving it until then, I think, was a really important show of patience there. Usually that ability is used for initiation, but if you don't need to, you don't need to.
Aurora gets pulled in by Wubbin, but not too worried about that one. Wubbin needs to be worried about how much damage the rest of Trifecta is doing. Nice snipe from Maswal, but doesn't end up impacting
nice dance. Nice dance. Maswell able to avoid. Very important that he stay alive here. Trifecta are low, so I don't think they're going to go for the Fire Giant just yet. Well, Snoopy is by himself. That Immunity Cop by himself can take care of the Fire Giant. Maswell going to be in range to at least hit it with the 1, but he'll be zoned out. That's a Fire Giant for Trifecta.
Skilly around the back. They need to be careful about this Nemesis, but Trifecta do secure the objective. Good knock-up and a map awareness by Aurora.
Here comes the ultimate out of Skilly, finds the kill, dashes around to the outside. Aurora's going to be able to catch up. No, he won't. He cancels the rollout. And Skilly, awake.
That is what that's what Nemesis does best with Blink, at least. I mean, ultimate to get away with that extra movement speed, the double dash. He's also got a Heart Seeker, a Mass Immune. That's a ton of extra movement speed.
Zooming.
Trifecta's not going to be able to do it. And that's a pretty big kill there for Noble. Delays Trifecta's push, not for long, by about 25 seconds. But most importantly, it takes that buff off of Heroin. That regen so important on Giannis because he wants to come in, maybe take a little bit of poke as he goes through an ultimate portal and portal himself out. That regen's very important, as well as Heroin doesn't have a ton of power in that build, so even that bit of power that Fire Giant gives you was going to be relevant for him.
It's so funny. Still 0-1-6. What I consider to be the light in the darkness for Trifecta in this game. The quiet carry that's been his whole career, and this game is just representative of Heroin's entire existence in the SMITE Pro League. If you look down at the nitty-gritty stats and you see the player damage, you're like, oh, yeah, well, yeah, clearly he's doing it. But it's he's doing it, and it's so easy just to miss.
Yeah, if you're looking at the post-game recap thread on Reddit and you see Heroin went 0-1-7, you're like, oh man, he didn't really do a lot this game. That is anything but the truth.
Everything, and that's the power. That's also the power of Giannis. But Giannis is one of these things where you have to have the mindset. And Heroin, one of the smarter players in the league, in my opinion, able to really execute that and find those exits, find those entrances with the portals, and enable his team to do what they're doing right now, which is fight into a Noble team that was up, I think, 8,000 gold at the height of their lead, plus a Fire Giant. And Trifecta is able to fight into it because of some excellent positioning from the mid laner, some fantastic portals, saving the lives of players that wouldn't have gotten out otherwise. And then, like you said, Kiki finally making an impact and making a very large one at that. Huge for Kiki to really show up and have a great team fight there, because he had been very, very quiet up until that point in the game. So Trifecta is trying to knock down some towers, because before this Fire Giant siege, Noble had every single one of them still standing, and still have most of them with 2 tier 2s gone. This is a pretty decent time for Trifecta to fight. Yes, Wowie's full build, but so is Snoopy, and Maswell hasn't gone for Rod of Tahuti. Saving it for that 6 item slot's really hurt him. Yeah, Maswell, well, Snoopy gets knocked up and knocked down all the way down to about 10% HP, saved a little bit by Aurora's shield. I was going to bring that up as well. Maswell, when he lands that nice ultimate on the right side before the Fire Giant, right, doesn't have any penetration. All he has is the Spear of Desolation. Doesn't have the Obsidian Shard penetration. If he had that instead of a Chronos Pendant, maybe he winds up with a kill there. Instead does not. Gold's Fury stole it? No, my bad. Noble picks up the Gold's Fury. And Aurora might be next here. Slow, but the rollout is strong. There comes Cynosure through that portal looking for Skilladon, and good damage coming out of Heroin, but not good enough to bring him down. Kiki in trouble. Portal's off the mark that time, but still has the knock-up. Nice beam, and jukes out the snipe as well. Why? How? Heroin's portals. Fantastic play. Just a fantastic stuff. Heroin is if Trifecta wind up fighting out from this Noble position, which will be harder than it sounds, even though they still have Fire Giant for a couple of seconds, will be because of Heroin. He has kept them alive through the early and mid game, and now the late game we're seeing some prowess from some of the other guys, but Heroin brought them here. 0-1-6. Who cares? Still top of the player damage charts, and again, right there for me, another snipe by Maswell that if he's got Rod of Tahuti, if he doesn't go Chronos Pendant, buys Obsidian Shard into Rod of Tahuti, that's another kill on the Snoopy, and that's the danger of delaying Rod this late into the build. 34 minutes to not have Rod of Tahuti as the team that's ahead is not the look you want. I understand it's expensive. I understand that you want to get it late because then you get more value out of it as Heroin, good positioning right next to the portal, gets him out of danger, and with this much CDR, who cares if he fires off that ultimate in addition to getting away with purification beads. This is just a little bit too late to be still farming up for Rod. I mean, the Rada Tahuti, you've mentioned it in casual conversation, maybe not even on broadcast, but it's sort of like the on button for a mage, right? You do what you do throughout the early and the mid game, and then the Rada Tahuti makes you that fearsome force.
Yes, and Maswell's done such a great job this game. He's been able to follow up off of Walrus's knockups past the 15-20 minute mark really, really effectively, and he's forced out a number of people with those ultimates. But if he had Rod, he'd be killing these people instead of just forcing them out.
And again, even the step before that, like I said, if he had the penetration when they were defending against the Fire Giant, maybe that winds up being a kill, and it just becomes very very interesting. The Chronos Pendant, not a one-size-fits-all item. Aurora looking for Maswell on the back end. The portal just left up as a just in case.
Just in case. In case of emergency, please take this portal. And Aurora's fine with expending his Blink ultimate for the purification beads there, but doesn't have a lot of CDR in that build. In fact, 0 CDR in that build for Aurora. So it's going to be a little bit of time before that Cataclysm is back up. Noble now doesn't have to worry about that quite as much. They can pile in on top of Aurora as much as they want.
All right, lane, it's going to be Skeely, just cleaning up. Herwin in the back end. There's a nice knock-up onto Kiki. Tried to initiate, but he gets deleted. Harwin comes through with an ultimate down the middle, but he gets taken out by Skeely, puts him to sleep, and the rest of the team try to converge onto the Fire Giant. It's 9-6, and Noble take this game right back from TFECT.
And again, it starts off with Wubbin's pull. Just pulls in Kiki. Great CC chain afterwards to make sure that heal never gets off. And Skeleton has recognized that Whirlwind is a massive problem, and that's the sort of area where Giannis doesn't get as much value out of those portals. He gets a little short one, but Skeleton was ready for him on the other side of it pretty quickly. Nice job by Noble getting their second Fire Giant of the game.
The identification that, look, it's been Hurry. It's been Herwin. Just take care of him, please. Somebody, anybody, please. And Skeely goes right towards it and makes it happen. Noble now Fire Giant. Get this right side Phoenix for free. No defense coming out from TFECT. Herwin sitting down for 18. Kiki sitting down for about 10 more. Mid lane Phoenix. Aurora will show his face alongside him using Cobb. But again, this one looks to be relinquished pretty easily by TFECT as well. Noble shifting over. Well, still not finished here, actually. Slowly taking this tower down. And then finally going to be on the retreat, not looking for the left side Phoenix as everybody has respawned.
Herwind has ultimate up soon, so could look to fire it off to continue this chase if TFECT want it, because Aurora's Blink ultimate is ready, but probably a wise decision to hold on to it for now. Don't want to fight Noble on neutral territory with them being pretty far ahead. That's not quite as relevant as that Fire Giant buff right now. You'd like to have that extra defense with you, have that extra man basically with the Phoenix shooting someone down. Yeah,
just fight on the flag. Yeah, you have something that shoots the bad guy for you. Why not fight on that? I'm talking about the Phoenix, obviously. Why the Phoenix? There's nothing to gain outside of the Fire Giant, outside of the base. The Gold Fury at this point, I mean, sure, but really not it. Hey, Harada Tahuti.
And now Maswell will one-shot Snoopy off of Walrus knockup. That's, even with that Mantle of Discord, that's not going to matter too much. Herwind is trying to find an answer for this Nemesis ultimate, I'm guessing, in his mind, and just going for more damage, probably the better option either way, because there really isn't an answer for Nemesis ultimate. Geb Shield and the Shell from Hurry are kind of the only two options, and I think that's a big reason why Herwind went for Shell in this matchup, because you can't, it's tough, you can't Aegis out Nemesis ultimate, but it has to be preemptive and can be difficult, especially with how Skeleton has been positioning around behind Hurry and kind of surprising him with it. So he's trying to use that shell to give him enough health to get through a portal right away. But with being full build, that Heartseeker as well for Skeleton, it's going to be difficult for Herwind to survive unless he and Aurora are on top of shielding himself very, very quickly.
Yeah, which to be fair, is something that TFECT can execute.
Yes.
But it is definitely why these guys are in the SPL. It's definitely very difficult to execute that. Split up play here by Noble. Jungler in the mid lane, everybody else on the left side. Skeleton going to group up and join the rest of his squad.
Herwind this time has a lot more advantages using these walls, so look for him to position it sneakily as Snoopy eats that Nemesis ultimate this time.
Just pushing the players off so they can go way deep. Noble looking for the objective. Ultimate out of Maswell, not going to have the impact that he might have wanted. And now TFECT pushing the players out. Here comes Herwind, finding just a tank. And he'll have to retreat back with the squad, but Noble grouping up for the heal. will try one more time.
Big win there for Noble because they got out that through space and time from Whirlwind, and her use of purification beads, it looked like accidentally, so now he's very vulnerable.
Kiki gets pulled on in, Wubbin one more time with the accuracy, putting the solo laner down to half HP and making him expend those thorns. Noble, the mid laner, 25,000 in healing. Gonna look to push that up one more time as Noble regroups and pushes down the left side. Phoenix, 75%. There's Aurora with the blink kata. 2 people stunned, but no follow-up. Now Aurora's in trouble. Pulled in by Wubbin. Bang goes the dynamite, and Moswall takes him out.
Sino gonna find one in response, though. Wowie falls to that ultimate from the Naja. Kiki doing his best to get away, has that heal coming, and it will bring him back to about half HP, but another perfect pull by Wubbin brings in Sino.
But Sino's able to S around the beam. He doesn't get hit. Nice jukes. Half HP on the Phoenix.
Got that movement speed from the Massive Immune and Winged Blade. Half HP, as you mentioned. Another
one. That's a pull, and that's going to be damage on the Snoopy. Walrus on the front end. And Sinoshore is able to punish Moswall, which might stunt this push. Here comes Whirlwind one more time. Ultimate. And Kiki just playing defense. 3 players from Noble have to retreat. Right side Phoenix respawn. Mid lane about to respawn, and TFECT successfully defend the left side. But all while they were doing that, Ryan, minions filter in, bring the Titan down to 7K.
That's true, but with all 3 Phoenixes respawn now, it can start to regen a little bit, so not quite as impactful. Great defense by TFECT.
Right.
Sinoshore able to survive a very extended engagement, and Naja usually not the type to survive those sorts of fights, especially in a late game scenario like this. It's usually one shot or be one shot for Naja. But Sino does a great job of staying alive, and he ends up making a huge impact at the very end of that team fight. While everyone's looking at Snoopy, who also stayed alive for that entire team fight as Amuz and Cobb, he makes a big impact by going into the back and killing Moswall while no one was looking.
Portal Demon here, and another pull by Wubbin. This time it's going to be complemented by Walrus's knockup. Portal Demon still, okay, there's the leash, and there's this kill on right on top of Snoopy. He's going to be knocked up. Walrus still looking, pushing the players out. Snoopy gets interesting and walks around. Nice portal usage. And Skildon trying to head back to base. He successfully does so before the blink in from Aurora, bringing Walrus relatively low.
Now, that ultimate from Whirlwind hit both targets, but it's 2 tanky guys, and he doesn't do enough damage to those, even with having nearly full build. Love this idea from TFECT, though. They push it up and try and take this fight. Because Sino had killed Moswall at the back end of that last team fight, he was dead for so long that TFECT got to push it up and find this Portal Demon.
Intense. 42-42 on the clock. 10-8. Noble with the 10. And they've been up a slew of gold. But this has been Noble's game up until, I guess that last part. Noble is just meeting fantastic defense from TFECT. This is one of the best performances I've seen a team have from behind, and then when they're defending their Phoenixes.
Really, really impressive. Haven't lost all 3. Only lost 2, the mid and right side. And left side Phoenix still strong. Fire minion waves are done on mid and right, so TFECT don't have to worry as much about their base. And this is late in game enough that if they can win this next team fight, they could take the game.
Well, Noble's looking for the Fire Giant. Here they go, half HP. Still, TFECT around and local. Whirlwind hits Walrus with 1. Not too big of a deal. Walrus in trouble. Walrus isolated. Walrus knocked up. Still alive. Beautiful shield by, and that's going to keep him alive. Thanks to a little bit of help, but Moswall, 3 shots and he's gone. Sinoshore takes out the mid lane mage.
2-man knock up there by Wubbin. Sinoshore getting low, but the ring bounce comes off fire. It cleans up Wowie. 3 dead quickly for Noble. Skilladon's looking for 1, but he gets interrupted by the knockback from Aurora.
Game.
That could be game.
Game. 60 seconds on everybody. That's game. Just walk up middle lane. Take what you've been given. TFECT. Defense wins games. Just fantastic performance. Can you point to Noble messing up, or is TFECT just winning that team fight?
I don't think Noble made any crazy big errors. It was little things here and there. I still think that not having brought up Tahuti a little bit earlier hurts Moswall, and Noble by extension, because they could have used that damage to try and end the game a little bit earlier. There are 3 towers up, but they've got 20 seconds. This is late game. Yeah, that Titan's as good as dead. This is, for me, a lot of times when teams have a lead like Noble had and they end up losing, it's because they throw it away. I don't think Noble threw this game all by themselves. I think that a lot more credit goes to TFECT for